Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to take a look today at lesson 9, which is working with the Roto Brush tool or a process called rotoscoping. Really cool technique. You've probably seen it a ton in commercials, movies. Really great way of essentially isolating video and removing backgrounds really quickly, really easily. So you can kind of see a little preview here how we can kind of stack and layer video and text elements. So really fun one. You're going to come back to this on your projects. First thing we're going to do is get our file set up and get After Effects loaded. Depending on your computer, this may be a little bit slower, a little bit faster in terms of the actual Roto Brush processing part, but you'll see that as I get into the demo. Today's start files are available on lesson 9 using Roto Brush tool, lesson 9 assets. That's all ready to go for you guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by first off unpacking our lesson 9 folder and then taking a look at our assets. We've got these two videos in here. There's this chickadee and this mill pond. The mill pond will act as a background. And what we're going to do is we're essentially going to clip out videos. So think about this as almost like in Photoshop how you can isolate an image. Well, this will isolate the image and it'll actually roll it forward and track everything inside of it automatically so that you can delete that background and put a new background in. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up and make a new comp from footage. So I'll select that and I'll grab my chickadee layer. Get this thing loaded up and that looks good. And what I want to do is I want to actually go into the layer to get into my rotoscoping options. I'm going to double click on my layer so I can pull open this layer view. If you want to go a little bit bigger with this, you can. We're going to fine tune a little, so I'm going to actually just kind of reposition my screen a little bit and then I'll reset this to fit just so I can see it a little bit more closely. Now, first thing I'm going to need to do is take a look at my Roto Brush tool, and that's this guy right up here. And essentially what this is going to do is this is going to allow us to select areas, kind of similar to like Magic Brush tool in Photoshop. So I'm going to click and drag across an area, and it's going to start selecting. And then as I click, it kind of selects more. So let me grab a little bit better area, and I'll start by getting kind of this, and then that looks all right. I'm gonna grab this guy in here. Now you can zoom in, you can fine tune. I'm gonna work a little bit more quickly on this. So if I have a little bit of stuff that's missing, just forgive me, it's all for the sake of speed. But what I'm gonna do is grab these options. Now, I wanna make sure I get all the bird's tail here. And as I'm doing this, you notice I'm picking up some extra background like here and over here. So what I can do is I can keyboard command. I'm gonna hold my option key on my Mac, and that's essentially gonna delete out area. So I can delete that out. It does a pretty good job of detecting. So I'm gonna kind of fine tune that. I got a little bit of area in here on the inside of the bird's legs I want to get rid of. So it's gonna let me see that. Just kind of click that out of there. I want to make sure I get the other leg too, and then clean up inside there. So it's looking pretty good. Now, you can really get in and fine tune this. I'm not going to be that precise about it just for the sake of speed, but I can zoom in a little bit more and really kind of fine tune and click and make sure I got everything. Now, you can kind of preview how your mask is going to look with these buttons down here. So here, if I want to just do like a full knockout, it looks a little rough. We're going to do a little bit of stuff to refine that. But then I can kind of jump back and forth. I can also see it in this standard mask mode that you're probably more used to seeing like in Photoshop. So now that I have the bird and the bath selected, what I want to do is I want to start keying forward. So I'm going to actually use my 2 key. And what this is going to do is this is going to start processing and propagating all these frames. So I'm actually just going to hold it down. Really what's going to end up happening is it's going to start rendering all this out. And as it renders it, we'll see kind of frame by frame now that we have the baseline selected. We're going to start seeing how it tracks how this bird is moving. Now, if I jump into frames, like maybe I lose the tail, I can go back in frame by frame and I can kind of start adding back in. So if I need to add in a little bit or fine tune, and it gets a little bit dicier when you get into certain areas where there's like image blur, but like I know I don't need that. So as I'm doing this, I'm gonna kind of 2 forward, see how it moves, and then make sure that it's picking all that up. So let me move. And for the sake of speed, now that you guys have seen kind of a little bit of the refinement of it, and again, you can refine way more by zooming way in. You can kind of change all that. I just want to get to the tail end of my piece so that it propagates all this. Now, as this is kind of rendering out all my footage here, if I zoom all the way to the end, it's going to push the rest of the edits through. It actually does a pretty nice job of just detecting what's inside the area. And because only really the bird is moving, it's not having to think too hard about the other areas. It's kind of seeing that as solid. It's just really going to be a matter of how it follows this bird along as it kind of hops along the edge. And honestly, for a render or for a quick draw like that, how it's grabbing the legs, everything, I think that actually looks really good. Now, what I want to do next is I want to kind of fine tune how I've got this set up here. So if you take a look along the left-hand side here, I've got a couple options: is feather, contrast, shift edge. I'm going to change my contrast to 40%. And I'm going to do my reduced chatter. I'm going to turn that up to about 20. So what that's going to do is that's going to kind of clean up my edges a little bit automatically for me. Now, as I do all this stuff, it's not going to edit it in real time. It's a setting that once I'm done with this, I'll actually go through and do a render. I'm going to have to freeze this part out. So now that I'm pretty much happy with how it looks, and again, you can fine tune kind of one frame at a time, make sure it looks good for you. When you're done, you're going to notice on the very bottom here, you've got this freeze button. What this freeze button do is it's now going to lock in our changes. It's no longer editable from a standard view. We can go back into this frame view to change it if we need to, but if I'm happy with it, I'm going to hit freeze, and it may take you a little bit longer, a little bit faster. It's just going to depend on the type of processing you're working with for this to go. There's 87 frames in this clip, and it basically has to look at these one at a time and then isolate them out. And as it's going, I notice there's one little spot where I lose its tail a little bit in the background, gets a little lost in the contrast. There's a whole lot movement going on there, so it rendered it up pretty quick. And now that it's done, I can close this layer up here. I'm going to close my effect controls here as well. And now I'm seeing that there's my footage. I'm catching a little bit of that background in here too. Not the end of the world, because I'm actually going to output some other footage into it, which should make this look a little bit more smooth or kind of hide it. So now that that's in there, what I'm going to do next is bring in my milled pond layer. I'm going to just drag this into my assets, drop it down onto my timeline, and I've got this kind of nice, kind of seemingly like agreeable image. If it had some roughness, it's probably not going to be quite as bad. Do a fit command here just to see a little bit more room. And I want to take my chickadee layer and I want to slide this down. Make sure I have my move tool selected. Slide this guy down. I'm just going to see maybe to about the lower third or so. So now if I play it back, I'm actually going to see how the footage looks against it. And that little bit of green that might be picking up, I can kind of cheat that a little bit by just moving this up into that green area maybe a little bit more, so it's not quite as noticeable. I can kind of play around with my positioning to hide that a little bit. So I'm going to go back to my start of my footage. And the next thing I want to do is I want to take a look at playing around with some coloring and some colorization of this background. We're going to do a little bit of an effect to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my mill pond layer, make sure I got that highlighted. I'm going to go to my effect menu, take a look at color correction. We're going to do a little something with the hue saturation here. So when I pop this open, here I'm seeing my effect controls. I'm going to select my colorize button, and I'm going to change a couple of things here. For my colorize hue, I'm going to set this to 56. For my saturation, I'll set that to 19. And my colorize lightness, I'll set this to -25. So now what it does is it basically just throws that across everything and just kind of desaturates and kind of colorizes that image. Now, I don't want it to stay like that the whole way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that as I'm looking at all this, here's on my range, I'll set all these as timing modes so that I can change them back to a different setting. So here, I can set that back to 0. My saturation, my lightness can pop up, so I can kind of do this colorize and desaturate effect. The other way I could do this is I could also just turn off that effect. So now that I have the effect turned on across the whole clip, now I can drop this down. I can see my effects. Here's my hue saturation. And maybe rather than adjusting all these individually, what I can do is I can just turn on this effect overall with my effect opacity. So I'll come back to the start of my footage. So rather than changing it from one color to another, I can also do this effect opacity where here it's at 100%. And then here, if I set it back down to 0%, now what it'll do is it'll have this kind of effect that fades out. So there's a couple different ways you can play around with it. No right or wrong answer. I'm just going to go this route with it. I think it kind of looks a little bit nicer, kind of reveals that pop. So that's what we got for our background. We got our foreground. We're kind of playing around with that. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to put some text, and we're going to kind of make some text work within this background. We're kind of almost going to create like a sandwich where we've got a foreground and a background, and in between we're going to have some text that kind of plays around with where it sits in all this. So I'm good with my effect control. I'll close that up here, and I'm going to grab my text tool, click once, and I'm going to type reflections. You can grab anything you want. I just grab Montserrat. I like to grab extra bold stuff when I'm doing these kind of big, like rotoscoped background kind of fade things. I just think it's a little bit easier in terms of readability. Now, in the book, it's going to ask that you do apply an auto effect like a blur and just, I don't really like working with the auto ones as much. I like kind of creating my own. So that's what I'm going to actually do on this. But what I'm going to do first is I want this to be nice and big. So grab my shift key and I want to basically make this fly across. Now you can see as I'm moving how it kind of stacks and layers across it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 1 and I'm going to set my start point for this effect. And I want it to be readable, so I'm going to kind of pay attention to where this is sitting. And this is probably good here, so it'll kind of go right across the bird. So on my start frame, I'm going to bring it to about halfway. And I'm going to change some of my settings. Let me close this and open up my settings for my text layer. Underneath transform here, what I'm going to do is obviously, yes, I'm going to change my position, but I also want to change my opacity. So I'm going to start with my opacity real low, not quite off, maybe like 25% or so. And then what I'll do is come to the final frame. I'm going to bump my opacity all the way up, but I'm also going to change where this positions. I'm going to make it almost like it act like it flies through. I'll hold my shift key as I do this. Should grab my so that it comes to this point. So now if it did it correctly, it should fade in, and as it fades in, it slides across. So here, as my background kicks in, so does my text. So it's kind of a cool little effect that it does. And that's really all it is that we're going to need to do for this as far as the lesson goes. But again, this rotoscoping tool, I think what you're seeing is the power of like being able to clip stuff out in actual video time. It's a really fun way of stacking and layering. So you can almost think of this as like kind of like a green screen effect where you can put anything in front of anything else and kind of blend the two together. And then obviously we've seen too, because we're using some of that colorization stuff, that we can use hue, saturation. We can kind of blend the backgrounds. We can kind of make the grading of the color look a little bit better from one to the next. So I'm going to just stop quick and save this thing. I'm going to just save off an AE version on my desktop. So I'll just call this L9. And then now that I'm done with this, I am going to export this thing off into the media encoder queue so that I can get an MP4 to submit for grading. So that is all for lesson 9. Obviously, going through and sending out your MP4s, same as always. If you have any questions on anything, please reach out. Let me know. Otherwise, here's my file. I'm just going to make sure I select the right location for it. So I'll just output this thing straight up on my desktop. Give it a name. So I'm just going to call this L9 and last name. I know a lot of you guys have been submitting your work just as whatever the default layer was. That's fine too, as long as I know it's coming straight from you. I'm just going to name this one so that I can. And then again, you want to double check your settings underneath your source. You're going to want to make sure that you're at medium bitrate and H.264. And I'm not going to make you guys sit and watch through that. So that is all for working with rotoscoping. Nothing too crazy, kind of a fast process. It's just really a matter of how fine-tuned you want to get. I work a little more quickly. It kind of reveals itself as I go through my frames here and see, like, I probably could have cleaned up underneath that leg a little bit. It's a little bit rough in there. But again, just for the sake of speed, I think it looks pretty good. And as you kind of scroll through one frame at a time, you can see if there's any issues with stuff not looking quite right. Like here, maybe I lost the tail a little bit. But again, when you're watching it back in real time, it also kind of hides that a little bit as well. All right, thanks, guys.